Perhaps the most cruel and bloodthirsty homicides ever perpetrated in Britain were the so-called Jack the Ripper murders, which occurred in East London during 1888. This was more than just murder. The so-called Jack the Ripper murders were ritual bloodbaths. The victims were slaughtered according to the oaths of loyalty sworn by members of the Masonic religion. Now, for the first time on film, we can reveal the truth about Jack the Ripper. Diaries written by Inspector Aberline of Scotland Yard at the time of the Ripper murders have been held in safekeeping by Joseph Sickert, whose father was an artist who gave art lessons to Prince Albert Victor, the heir to the throne of the British Empire in the 19th century. Prince Albert Victor was known as Prince Eddie. He was the son of Queen Alexandra and the grandson of Queen Victoria. During the last 120 years, royal spin doctors have led the public to believe that Queen Victoria was popular. She was not. Often hissed in public, Queen Victoria was a German, and so was her husband. They were great supporters and patrons of World International Freemasonry. Queen Victoria's son became King Edward VII. He was King of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland, King of the Commonwealth Realms, and the Emperor of India. He was the first British monarch to carry the name of Saxe-Coburg-Gotha onto the throne. Edward VII was part of the Germanic royal dynasty which had sponsored the writing career of Adam Weishaupt, a Jesuit who had formed the Bavarian Illuminati in the 1770s. The Bavarian Illuminati infiltrated the upper echelons of Freemasonry, preaching a secret doctrine of a new world order, a global superstate where compassion and democracy would have no place. Since the 1700s, the Bavarian Illuminati has fragmented into an invisible global network of secret societies, which includes the infamous Skull and Bones fraternity at Yale University in the United States. Adam Weishaupt's doctrine of a new world order was laid out in 3 books which he wrote in the later years of his life. He lived in the town of Gotha, and his writing career was funded by the Saxe-Coburg dynasty, who came to the British throne through Edward VII. Edward VII was installed as Grand Master of British Freemasonry in 1875. He regularly appeared in public wearing the ceremonial uniform of a Masonic Grand Master. Like his Saxe-Coburg grandparents, King Edward VII was one of the biggest financial contributors to the Illuminati version of Freemasonry. He was crowned in 1901. Masonic lodges existed in several royal palaces, most notably in Kensington Palace, which was home to the Royal Alpha Lodge. It was here, in 1885, that King Edward VII initiated his own son, Prince Albert Victor, better known as Prince Eddie. Prince Eddie was genetically handicapped. Generation after generation of inbreeding within the Saxe-Coburg bloodline had resulted in Prince Eddie, the heir to the throne, being partially deaf. With typical cruelty, most of the royal family had no time for a partially deaf person, and Eddie's brother was groomed instead to take the throne after Edward VII died. Along with the great and the good of Victorian and Edwardian society, Prince Eddie spent much of his time enjoying himself at the taxpayers' expense in various brothels. Prince Eddie was a regular visitor of a homosexual paedophile brothel in Cleveland Street, London. Aleister Crowley, who claims to have been a member of the 1591 Studholme Masonic Lodge and also a visitor to the Royal Alpha Lodge at Kensington Palace, was in possession of love letters between Prince Eddie and a young boy at the brothel. This was a potential scandal for the heir to the throne, but the aristocracy supported the idea of paedophilia at the time. In fact, there was a revolt in the House of Lords when the age of consent was raised from 12 to 13 years of age. In fact, a much bigger scandal was soon to break, when it was revealed that Prince Eddie had made a young girl called Annie Crook pregnant. Prince Eddie had secretly married her, even though he was forbidden to marry a Roman Catholic. Officially, this meant that he would not be able to become king. In 1884, the Pope had condemned the satanic nature of Freemasonry, and the royal political elite split into two factions, one Catholic and anti-Masonic, and the other Protestant, fiercely guarding the real power behind the throne, which was World International Freemasonry. Prince Eddie had secretly married a Catholic, and that was a form of treason. It infuriated powerful Freemasons. Mixed with a potent dash of royal paedophilia and Aleister Crowley's collection of homosexual love letters between the prince and a young boy, the British establishment was facing perhaps the biggest scandal ever to have rocked the monarchy. They decided to do what the monarchy has always done: stage a massive cover-up operation. In 1885, Annie Crook was kidnapped from the sweet shop where she worked, and simultaneously Prince Eddie was forced into a carriage which galloped away in the opposite direction. It was the last the young newlywed